Welcome to Eternal Enigma. What if I told you there are places on Earth, real physical locations you can visit today, where the barrier between our world and hell is so thin it's practically non-existent, gates that have been burning for over 50 years, castles built specifically to seal bottomless pits, lakes where the dead are said to emerge, mountains that locals refuse to climb because the demons will take you. These aren't myths, these aren't legends. These are documented locations with centuries of testimony, unexplained phenomena, and consistent reports of paranormal activity so intense that even skeptics admit something is wrong with these places. Today we're exploring the 7 known gates to hell, portals that remain open, active, and accessible right now. And by the end you'll understand why certain places on this planet should never be visited after dark. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video to support our team's dedication to bringing you so much high-quality knowledge. The gates are real, and they're waiting. The 7 gates of hell. Across different cultures and time periods, 7 specific locations have been identified as portals to the underworld, places where the veil between dimensions is permanently torn, where infernal energies bleed into our reality. The number 7 isn't coincidental. 7 deadly sins, 7 circles of hell, various traditions, 7 seals of revelation, 7 as number of completeness in biblical numerology. These gates span continents: Europe, Asia, Africa, Middle East, suggesting either geological explanation. Specific natural formations create conditions conducive to dimensional thinning. Historical explanation. Ancient rituals performed at these sites opened portals that never closed. Theological explanation. These are actual entrances to hell, placed strategically across Earth. What makes these different from haunted locations is the consistency. Ancient recognition. Identified as hell gates for centuries, millennia. Cross-cultural agreement. Different civilizations independently identified same spots. Ongoing phenomena. Activity continues to present day. Physical anomalies. Measurable environmental oddities. We'll explore each gate, its location, history, phenomena reported, why it's considered a portal, and what happens to those who enter. Warning: some of these locations are accessible, some have claimed lives. Approach at your own risk. The crater that burns forever. In the Karakum Desert of Turkmenistan, there's a crater 230 feet wide and 65 feet deep that has been on fire continuously since 1971. Locals call it the door to hell, Darvaza gas crater. The official story: 1971, Soviet geologists drilling for natural gas. The ground collapses, creating massive crater. Fearing methane release would poison nearby village, they ignite the gas, expecting it to burn out in weeks. 52 plus years later, still burning. The fire has never stopped. Why it's more than a gas fire? 1. The duration is unexplained. Geologists estimated weeks or months of fuel. After half a century, it should have exhausted the gas pocket, yet it burns with same intensity, suggesting either 4. Unlimited fuel source. Geologically impossible. The fire is feeding on something other than natural gas. It's not actually a natural phenomenon. 2. The locals refuse to approach Turkmen people. Avoid the crater, especially at night. They report run-hurrying screams and wails coming from the flames, seeing faces in the fire, feeling overwhelming dread approaching the edge, animals refusing to go near, dogs bark frantically, horses panic. 3. Temperature anomalies. The temperature at the rim fluctuates wildly, sometimes unbearably hot, sometimes inexplicably cool, with no correlation to time of day or wind patterns. The smell. Visitors report the smell isn't just burning gas, it's sulfurous, rotten, like burning flesh or decay. This is the classic description of hell across multiple religious traditions. 5. Electronic malfunctions. Cameras, phones, and equipment frequently malfunction near the crater. Footage becomes corrupted. Batteries drain instantly. Compasses spin erratically. 6. The shape from aerial view. The crater resembles an eye or mouth, and at night the orange glow creates distinctly organic appearance, like something living. The alternative theory. What if the Soviet drilling didn't just hit gas? What if they punctured something else? A dimensional barrier, a sealed chamber, an ancient curse site. Turkmenistan was part of ancient Persia, a region with deep Zoroastrian history. Zoroastrianism features fire temples, sacred fires that burned perpetually. Ahriman devil figure associated with underground darkness. Concept of portals to demon realms. Some researchers propose the Soviets accidentally drilled into an ancient Zoroastrian seal site, a location where priests had bound demons underground using perpetual flame as lock. Breaking the seal released infernal energy that manifests as eternal fire, not burning gas but literally hell's fires breaching into our dimension. What happens to visitors? Most tourists visit during day, take photos from safe distance, leave unaffected, but those who camp nearby overnight, approach the edge after dark, enter altered states, drugs, alcohol, exhaustion, report consistent experiences, vivid nightmares of burning alive, feeling of being watched by malevolent presence, compulsion to jump into the flames, several suicides reported, temporary possession, personality changes, speaking in unknown languages, long-term psychological effects, paranoia, obsession with fire. Current status: the Turkmen government plans to extinguish it, citing environmental concerns, but has postponed multiple times. Some speculate they've tried and failed. You can't extinguish a portal, only seal it, and sealing requires knowledge the Soviets destroyed when they broke the original seal. The door to hell remains open, and it's still burning. The castle built to seal the bottomless pit. Near Prague stands Houska Castle, a 13th century fortress with no fortifications, no water source, no kitchen, no reason to exist as a defensive structure. Because it wasn't built to keep enemies out, it was built to keep something in, the bottomless pit. Before the castle existed, there was a cliff with a cave, a hole in the ground so deep that locals believed it had no bottom. They called it the gateway to hell. Legends described throwing ropes down that never touched bottom, lowering prisoners on ropes, pulled back up insane, aged decades, hair turned white, strange creatures emerging at night, winged humanoids, half-human demons, screams echoing from the depths, livestock disappearing near the opening. The local villagers were terrified. The church got involved. The seal. In 1253, King Ottokar II of Bohemia ordered a castle built directly over the hole. The chapel was constructed first, positioned precisely above the pit, with the rest of the castle built around it as secondary containment. The chapel floor is covered with Christian imagery, Archangel Michael defeating Satan, painted directly above where the pit would be, layers of blessed symbols, consecrated ground several feet thick. This wasn't a chapel for worship, it was a seal, using sacred geometry and blessed ground to close the portal. Why Houska is different: no defensive purpose, Ranar built in the middle of nowhere, not protecting anything. No water source, castles need wells, Houska has none. No kitchen, food prepared elsewhere, brought in. Windows face inward, designed to monitor the courtyard, not external enemies. It was a prison, not for people, for whatever was in the pit. Architectural anomalies. Walls are thicker around the chapel than anywhere else. Secret passages lead down toward the sealed pit, not for escape. Ventilation shafts designed to prevent airflow from below. The phenomena. During construction, workers reported hearing scratching beneath the foundations, tools disappearing and reappearing moved, shadows with no source. Workers refusing to continue had to be forced. Medieval period. Monks assigned to pray continuously in the chapel, maintaining spiritual barrier. Reports of things being seen in the courtyard at night. Gargoyles on the building showing terrified expressions, looking down, not out. Twin. Nazis occupied Houska Castle, conducting experiments in the chapel. Documents suggest they were trying to access what was sealed below. Several SS officers went insane. The experiments stopped abruptly. After the war, local accounts described seeing dark figures around the castle that hadn't been seen for centuries, suggesting Nazi activity weakened the seal. Modern reports. Current visitors report. The chapel, feeling immense pressure, difficulty breathing, overwhelming dread. The courtyard, shadows moving against light sources, temperature drops, electronic failures, photographs, strange mists, orbs, and in rare cases humanoid figures that weren't visible to naked eye. Night vigils, scratching sounds from beneath the floor, whispers in unknown languages, physical attacks, scratches appearing on people. The fresco. The chapel contains a fresco depicting the Archangel Michael fighting a dragon demon. Over centuries, the demon's face has reportedly changed, becoming more detailed, more malevolent, as if whatever's below is impressing itself on the painting. Restoration experts can't explain why pigments would alter to create detail rather than fade. Current status. Houska is privately owned, occasionally open for tours. Paranormal investigation teams are allowed with permission. Consistent findings. Like EMF spikes in the chapel. No electrical sources present. EVP recordings capturing growls, screams, Latin phrases. Infrared cameras detecting cold spots that move intelligently. The castle still stands. The seal still holds. But for how long? The Buddhist gateway to hell. Mount Osore, Fear Mountain in northern Japan, is considered one of the scariest places in the country, and it's intentionally designed to be. The landscape of hell. Mount Osore is an active volcano surrounded by a caldera lake, Lake Osore. The area features sulfurous hot springs bubbling from the ground, smell of hell, barren ash-covered landscape. Nothing grows, looks genuinely post-apocalyptic. Yellow and red mineral deposits covering rocks, visual representation of fire and brimstone, steam vents releasing toxic gases, creating hellish atmosphere. Buddhists believe this is where the dead pass on their journey to the afterlife, a literal border region between living world and spirit realm. The 8 hells. The site contains physical representations of the 8 hot hells from Buddhist cosmology. Rana Sanjiva, hell of revival, where beings die and revive repeatedly. Kala Sutra, black rope hell, bodies stretched and cut. Samgata, crushing hell, mountains crush victims. Raurava, screaming hell, eternal screaming. Maharaurava, great screaming, worst torments. Tapana, heating, roasted alive. Pratapana, great heating, immolated repeatedly. Avachi, unrelenting, worst hell, for patricide and killing Buddhas. Each section of Mount Osore represents one hell, with stone markers and statues. The Sanzu River, crossing the caldera, is a river. Sanzu no Kawa, the Buddhist equivalent of river Styx. The dead must cross this river to reach the afterlife. Small stone cairns built by grieving parents line the riverbanks, each representing a child who died. According to belief, children can't cross the river. They haven't accumulated enough karma, so demons torment them on the banks. Parents stack stones to help build a path for their children's spirits. But demons knock the cairns down each night, so parents must return and rebuild them. The sight is heartbreaking and terrifying simultaneously. The Atako, blind mediums called Atako, gather at Mount Osore during festivals, especially Obon in July. They claim to channel the dead, allowing visitors to speak with deceased loved ones. Skeptics dismiss them as cold-reading frauds, but believers report Atako revealing information they couldn't possibly know, voices changing to match the deceased, messages containing specific details only the dead person knew. Whether genuine mediumship or psychology, the practice reinforces Mount Osore's reputation as a place where the veil is thin. Phenomena reported: visual, apparitions in the mists. Volcanic steam creates perfect conditions for pareidolia, or actual manifestations. Shadow figures moving through the ash fields, children's ghosts near the cairns. Auditory, wailing and screaming blamed on wind through vents. But why does it sound so human? Children's voices calling for parents, demonic growling from steam vents. Physical, overwhelming grief/despair, approaching certain areas, emotional residue or spiritual oppression, nausea and headaches, toxic gases or spiritual attack, equipment malfunctions, EMF from volcanic activity or paranormal interference. Why it's a portal? Buddhist cosmology describes hell realms as places, not metaphysical abstractions, but actual locations accessible through specific points on Earth. Mount Osore's volcanic activity creates conditions resembling Buddhist hell descriptions. But the question is, did Buddhists build the temple here because it looked like hell, or because it actually is a portal and they recognized it? The constant volcanic activity keeps the portal open, fire and sulfur eternally burning, maintaining the connection between worlds. Current status: Mount Osore is an active pilgrimage site. The temple Bodaiji remains operational. Visitors come to Morausa, pray for deceased relatives, consult Itako mediums, experience the landscape of hell while still alive as spiritual preparation. You can visit. The gates are open year-round. Whether you'll see only volcanic landscape or something more depends on what's waiting for you on the other side. The City of the Dead, Fengdu, located on Ming Mountain along the Yangtze River, is known as China's Ghost City, an entire complex of temples, shrines, and sculptures dedicated to the Chinese afterlife. For 2,000 years, it's been identified as the physical location where souls of the dead are judged before entering the underworld. The legend: two Han Dynasty officials, Yin Changsheng and Wang Fangping, became immortals through Taoist practices on Ming Mountain. Their combined names create Yinwang, meaning King of Hell. This linguistic coincidence or destiny established Ming Mountain as the earthly residence of Yanlo Wang, King Yama, ruler of Du, a Chinese hell. The journey through hell. Fengdu is structured as the path souls take after death. 1. The Ghost Gate, Dimenguan, massive ornate gate marking entrance to afterlife realm. Souls must pass through, and living visitors who cross report sudden temperature drops, feeling of being watched, weight on shoulders, spiritual pressure. 2. The Bridge of Helplessness, Nai He Chao. 3 bridges, one for good souls, smooth, one for average souls, bumpy, one for evil souls covered in sharp blades. Living visitors are challenged. Walk across without stepping off the path. Those who fail will have bad luck, illness, or shortened lifespan, according to belief. The Tower of Last Glances, Wangshangtai, where souls look back at the living world one final time before judgment. Visitors report uncontrollable crying, seeing visions of deceased loved ones, sudden memories of regrets and failures. 4. Palace of the King of Hell, where souls are judged. Statues depict Rangkal Nyerwang. On his throne, demon judges interrogating souls, punishments for various sins, torture implements used in the afterlife. The statues are disturbingly detailed and create genuine atmosphere of dread. The 10 Courts of Hell. Fengdu contains temples representing the 10 Yama kings, judges of different hells. Each court handles specific sins: murder, theft, adultery, lying, etc. Each has corresponding punishment vividly depicted. Walking through these courts is psychological ordeal, confronting your sins made visual and physical. The phenomena, historical accounts. Bodies of executed criminals placed in Fengdu wouldn't decompose, suggesting spiritual preservation. Locals seeing processions of ghosts entering the city at night. Monks reporting demon encounters during meditation. Modern reports. Photographs showing extra figures not present when taken. Electronic voice phenomena in the temples, especially King's Palace. Visitors experiencing sudden illnesses that vanish upon leaving. The Three Gorges Dam. When the dam was built, completed 2006, the rising Yangtze River partially submerged old Fengdu. The city was relocated to higher ground, and many temples were rebuilt. But locals report that since the flooding, activity has increased. Ghosts displaced by water, new hauntings in relocated temples. The submerged original structures still visible underwater, and lights have been seen glowing beneath the surface at night. Did flooding the original portal create new problems? Did it release entities that were contained? Cultural significance. Fengdu isn't just tourist attraction, it's active religious site. People come to Fengdu, pray for deceased relatives, prepare spiritually for their own death, seek forgiveness for sins, performing rituals to avoid certain hells. The belief is real, maintained across generations. Whether the portal itself is literal or metaphysical, the spiritual power of the place is undeniable. Current status. Fengdu is open to visitors. Millions tour annually. It's promoted as cultural heritage site, but the religious practices continue. The gates stand open, the judges wait, and whether you believe or not, walking through the ghost city forces confrontation with mortality and morality that few places can match. The ancient Greek gate to Hades, Cape Matapan, also called Cape Tainaron, is the southernmost point of mainland Greece, and according to ancient mythology, one of the entrances to Hades. The mythological significance. Multiple Greek myths place an entrance to the underworld here. Heracles' 12th labor, capturing Cerberus, the three-headed dog guarding Hades, required entering the underworld. One tradition says Heracles descended through a cave at Cape Matapan. Orpheus, the legendary musician who entered Hades to retrieve his dead wife Eurydice, allegedly used the Cape Matapan entrance. Theseus, attempting to kidnap Persephone from Hades, Theseus descended through this gate and was trapped there until Heracles rescued him. The Cave of Hades. Near the cape exists a cave system, now partially collapsed, that ancient Greeks identified as the literal entrance. The cave featured descent into complete darkness, underground water source, river Styx, extreme depth. No one found the bottom. Strange echoes and sounds. Ancient sources describe the cave as a gloomy chasm where the air is heavy, where light fails, where the living fear to tread. The Temple of Poseidon. On the cape stands a temple dedicated to Poseidon, but its location is significant. Ancient Greeks built temples to Poseidon, god of the sea and earthquakes, at liminal places, boundaries between worlds. Placing the temple here suggests recognition of Cape Matapan as threshold between living world and underworld. The temple also served as asylum. Fugitives and criminals could claim sanctuary. Why? Because it was neutral ground between mortal law and divine infernal jurisdiction. The phenomena. Ancient reports. Disappearances. People entering the cave and never returning. Voices echoing from underground, blamed on the dead. Earthquake activity. Poseidon-Hades relationship. Both rule underground realms. Visions of shades. Ghosts near the cave mouth at dusk. Modern experiences. The cave system is partially accessible via diving. Divers report hurrying sounds underwater with no identifiable source. Equipment malfunctions. Sudden panic attacks. Cave diving normally, then overwhelming dread. Cape Matapan sits on major fault line. Earthquakes are common. Could this explain everything? But consider, why did ancient Greeks across multiple myths independently identify this location specifically as underworld entrance? They had hundreds of caves throughout Greece. Why this one? Possible explanations. Geological gases. Cave vents releasing hallucinogenic gases, creating visions of underworld. Acoustic phenomena. Cave structure creating sounds interpreted as voices of the dead. Actual portal. The myths are accurate. This was a thin place where underworld is accessible. Collective unconscious. Humans naturally recognize liminal spaces, and Cape Matapan's geography triggers this recognition. The symbolism. Cape Matapan is the southernmost point, furthest from northern lands, closest to Africa, unknown. For Greeks, south represented death. Bodies decompose faster in heat. The unknown, unexplored lands. It's also where land meets sea, another threshold. And the cape is rocky, barren, harsh, visually evocative of underworld landscapes. The location naturally functions as symbolic gate even if it's not literal one. Current status, the temple ruins remain. The cave is partially collapsed, but diving access exists. Tourists visit. Most experience nothing unusual, but local fishermen still avoid the area at night, and occasionally someone diving the cave doesn't return. Lost occurrence, equipment failure, or something else. The ancient gate may be sealed, collapsed, or simply waiting for the right person to descend. Gate Nun 6, Plutonium of Hierapolis, Turkey. The deadly portal. Hierapolis was ancient Greco-Roman city in modern Turkey, featuring a plutonium, a sacred cave dedicated to Pluto, Hades, god of the underworld. Ancient writers Strabo, Pliny, describe it as literally deadly. Any animal that passes inside meets instant death. Bulls led to the opening fall dead. Birds flying overhead drop from the sky. Priests of Cybele could enter without harm, holding their breath, ancient sources claim, but all other living things died instantly. Rediscovered 2013. Archaeologists found the plutonium in 2013. Testing revealed the cave emits concentrated CO2 from volcanic vents, creating lethal atmosphere at ground level, where animals breathe, while being survivable at human head height, if you hold your breath and move quickly. The mystery, CO2 explains animal deaths. But how did ancient priests know they could survive? Why build a temple to Pluto specifically here? Reports of visions and prophecies received at the site, hallucinogenic gases mixing with CO2. The plutonium was considered literal gate to Hades, and the deadly atmosphere proved it. Those who died there descended to Pluto's realm. Modern status. The site is excavated but not fully open to tourists. Safety concerns. The CO2 emissions continue. The gate is still deadly. Gate Numpiguen, Lake Avernus, near Naples, was considered entrance to the underworld in Roman mythology. Virgil's Aeneid describes Aeneas descending to the underworld through a cave at Lake Avernus, guided by the Sibyl of Cumae. The name Avernus comes from Greek arnos, meaning without birds. Ancient sources claim birds flying over the lake would fall dead from toxic fumes. Geological reality. Lake Avernus sits in a volcanic crater. The area Campi Flegrae, Phlegraean Fields, is provolcano, potentially more dangerous than Vesuvius. Emits sulfurous gases, has history of minor eruptions and earthquakes, creates eerie mists and fogs. The deadly to birds claim likely comes from occasional gas releases killing wildlife. The Oracle, nearby cave of the Sibyl at Cumae, was where prophetic priestess delivered prophecies. The cave is real, excavated, and shows evidence of ancient ritual use. Did priestesses breathe volcanic gases to induce visions? Or was Lake Avernus genuinely a thin place where communication with underworld spirits was possible? Modern status. Lake Avernus is now peaceful, recreational lake. The toxic gases have dissipated or occur less frequently, but local legends persist about Ron Nor, seeing figures in the mists, hearing whispers near the shore at night. They built temples, performed rituals, and consulted oracles here for centuries. Whether the portal has closed or simply quieted is unclear. The gates remain open. We've explored 7 gates to hell, real locations you can visit, photograph, and experience. Darvaza, Turkmenistan, burning crater that won't extinguish 50+ years of fire. Houska Castle, Czech Republic, built to seal a bottomless pit, chapel as spiritual lock. Mount Osore, Japan, Buddhist hell landscape where the dead pass through. Fengdu, China, city of ghosts, 2,000 years of death pilgrimage. Cape Matapan, Greece, mythological entrance to Hades, cave of no return. Hierapolis, Turkey, plutonium that kills anything entering, CO2 or curse. Lake Avernus, Italy, Roman gateway where Aeneas descended. What's remarkable is the consistency across cultures, volcanic/geological activity, fire gases, heat, ancient recognition, known for millennia, continuing phenomena, still active today. Death associations, people/animals dying at these sites. Are these actual portals to hell, or natural phenomena interpreted through religious frameworks? The materialist answer: geological anomalies, volcanic activity, toxic gases, unusual formations create conditions that humans interpret as supernatural. The spiritual answer: certain locations have thin veils between dimensions. Geological activity may cause thinning, or thinning may cause geological activity. Either way, these places are genuinely dangerous spiritually. The pragmatic answer: it doesn't matter if they're real portals. What matters is people die there, people go insane there, technology fails there, and something about these places affects human consciousness in measurable ways. Whether you explain it through geology, psychology, or theology, the effect is the same. These places are different. The gates are open. Some have been open for thousands of years. Some will burn for thousands more. You can visit them. You can test them yourself. But remember, every culture that identified these gates also warned: some portals should remain closed, some knowledge shouldn't be pursued, and some places were marked as hell for a reason. The door to hell in Turkmenistan is still burning. Houska Castle still seals what lies beneath. Mount Osore still welcomes the dead. The gates remain. Subscribe to Eternal Enigma for more investigations into places where our reality breaks down. Until next time, remember, there are locations on this earth where the laws of nature bend, where the spiritual realm bleeds through, where hell itself touches our world, and they're not going anywhere. The portals are open. The question is, will you enter?